Hey there, I'm Apple, or as my viewers know me, the voice behind AppleKnows. And today, I'm taking you on a wild trip around the world, through your taste buds. We're diving into the strangest, most unbelievable food facts from across the planet. But trust me, everything you're about to hear is 100% real. Some of these will make you laugh, some might make you lose your appetite, and others, well, you might just question humanity itself. Let's start in Iceland, a land of ice, fire, and fermented shark. Known locally as a Karl, this dish is made from Greenland shark that's buried underground for months to rot before being hung to dry. The smell? Think ammonia and death mixed together. Locals say it's an acquired taste, but even Gordon Ramsay spat it out on camera. The kicker? Greenland sharks are toxic when fresh. They literally have to rot to become safe for humans to eat. Now let's fly to Japan, a place where culinary art meets danger. Ever heard of fugu? It's the infamous pufferfish that can kill you if not prepared correctly. Only licensed chefs can serve it, and they train for years just to earn that right. One wrong slice, and the neurotoxin called tetrodotoxin can paralyze your entire body while you're still conscious. Some thrill seekers in Japan actually eat it because of that risk. They call it eating death. But if you think that's intense, wait till you hear about Italy. There's a cheese so dangerous, it's illegal. It's called queso marzu, from Sardinia, and it's basically a sheep cheese intentionally infested with live maggots. The larvae help ferment the cheese, giving it a creamy texture. The catch? If the maggots die, the cheese is considered unsafe. So yes, true connoisseurs eat it while the maggots are still wriggling. Some even jump while you eat. And then there's China, where the philosophy of wasting nothing has created some of the world's most shocking dishes. One of them is called century egg. It's not really 100 years old, but it's preserved in clay and ash for months until it turns black, smells like sulfur, and tastes like strong cheese and ammonia. Another? Balut from the Philippines, a fertilized duck egg with a nearly developed embryo inside. Locals eat it with salt or chile, feathers and all. It's said to be an aphrodisiac, though most first-time eaters don't get past the sight of it. Let's head to South Korea, where a dish called sanachi might just move on your plate, literally. It's live octopus, chopped into pieces right before serving. The tentacles still wriggle when you eat them, thanks to nerve activity. People sometimes choke because the suction cups cling to their throats. It's seen as a test of bravery, a battle between man and meal. But not all shocking food facts are about danger. Some are just beautifully bizarre. In India, for example, there's a dessert called golden jalebi, literally coated with edible gold. Meanwhile, in Dubai, you can order coffee topped with 24-karat gold flakes. It's luxury you can taste, though probably not afford twice. And speaking of luxury, did you know there's a type of coffee called kopi luwak that comes from animal poop? Specifically, it's made from coffee beans eaten and digested by civet cats. The beans are collected from their droppings, cleaned, roasted, and sold for hundreds of dollars a cup. The idea is that the animal's digestion removes bitterness. Whether it's true or not, you're literally drinking what came out of a cat's backside. Then there's the story of green ketchup. Yes, in the early 2000s, Heinz released bright green and purple ketchup for kids. It was supposed to be fun, but it completely failed. Psychologists later discovered that our brains are wired to connect color and taste. When ketchup isn't red, it just feels wrong. Even if it tastes the same. Food culture can be emotional, cultural, even spiritual, but it's also full of secrets. Like how the world's most expensive spice, saffron, is hand-picked from crocus flowers. It takes around 75,000 blossoms to make just 1 pound of saffron. Or how lobster used to be considered poor man's food in the 1800s, fed to prisoners and servants. Now, it's a luxury meal. The world flipped that one upside down. And maybe the strangest truth of all, in some corners of the world, you can legally eat insects, snakes, scorpions, and even tarantulas. In Cambodia, fried tarantulas became a survival food during the Khmer Rouge regime. Today, they're a crunchy street snack. In Thailand, grasshoppers, silkworms, and crickets are seasoned like chips, rich in protein and far more sustainable than beef. As Apple knows, I've seen how food tells stories of survival, of culture, of pure curiosity. Every dish, no matter how odd or shocking, carries a piece of history. But the deeper I dig, the more I realize that normal doesn't exist in food. It's all about where you come from and what you're willing to try. Would you taste any of these? Or would you rather stay where food doesn't stare back at you from the plate? Ever heard of jellied moose nose? In Canada's Northern Territories, it's a traditional dish among old frontier families. They boil a moose's nose, hair and all, then remove the skin, slice the cartilage, and set it in a gelatin mold. The final result looks like something straight out of a horror film. But locals say it's a heritage food, rich in collagen and full of history from the days when nothing from a hunt went to waste. Travel with me to Vietnam, and you'll find something that shocks almost every visitor: snake wine. Inside a glass jar, you'll see a cobra or pit viper coiled up in rice wine, sometimes still looking alive. The idea is that the alcohol neutralizes the venom, and the drink supposedly boosts vitality and strength. Some versions even include a scorpion or gecko swimming beside the snake, because, why not? In Greenland, a delicacy called kiviak pushes the boundaries of what we can even call food. Imagine taking a seal, hollowing it out, and stuffing it with hundreds of tiny seabirds called auks. Then you sew it shut, bury it under rocks, and leave it for months to ferment. When it's ready, the birds are eaten raw, feathers, bones, and all preserved in the oily, fermented air inside the seal. It's eaten at celebrations. People describe the flavor as cheese mixed with ocean and decay. But food can be shocking for simpler reasons, too. In France, one of the most controversial delicacies is ortolan, a tiny songbird. It's eaten whole, bones, head, everything, after being drowned in brandy and roasted. Traditionally, diners cover their heads with a napkin while eating it, said to hide from God while committing such indulgence. It's now illegal in France, but some still do it in secret. In the US, weirdness hides behind modern comfort food. The bright red color in many candies and drinks, like red velvet cake or certain sodas, often comes from cochineal, a natural dye made from crushed insects. Yes, that brilliant red comes from a bug that lives on cactus plants. It's perfectly safe, but most people never realize they're eating insects when they enjoy a strawberry yogurt or a pink donut. Speaking of hidden surprises, let's talk about cassou marzeau's distant cousin, mimolette cheese from France. It's bright orange and known for its nutty flavor. What most people don't know is that its texture and flavor come from microscopic mites that live on its rind. The mites are intentionally introduced to create small holes and a particular aroma. The US once banned it because of the mite content, calling it unsafe, though it's totally normal in France. In Thailand, there's an entire market dedicated to edible bugs, scorpions, beetles, and even water bugs the size of your hand. Street vendors deep fry them with soy sauce and chile, selling them like popcorn. What's more surprising? The United Nations promotes edible insects as a key to solving future world hunger. They're high in protein, require little land or water, and emit far less carbon than cows. So, the future of food might buzz. Literally. In Peru, the national dish is cuy, roasted guinea pig. It's been part of Andean culture for centuries, even featured in ancient religious rituals. To them, it's no different than chicken or rabbit. Meanwhile, many tourists can't even look at it because they see guinea pigs as cute pets. That's how perspective shapes our taste. Then there's Sweden, home of surströmming, the world's smelliest food. It's fermented Baltic herring that's been canned just before it begins to rot. When you open the can, the smell can make people gag instantly. Airlines even banned passengers from bringing it on board because of its explosive odor. But to Swedes, eaten with potatoes and onions, it's a nostalgic flavor of tradition, a taste of home. If we go to Indonesia, you'll find kopi jas, coffee with a burning lump of charcoal dropped into it. Locals believe the charcoal removes acidity and aids digestion. The hiss of hot coal meeting dark coffee is a familiar sound in Yogyakarta's night markets. Even simple foods can hide mysteries. Take honey. Most people think it lasts a few months, but honey, when sealed properly, never spoils. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old and still perfectly edible. It's the only food on earth that doesn't go bad with time. And maybe the most poetic food fact of all comes from Japan again: wagashi, delicate sweets made to represent seasons. Each is hand-sculpted from bean paste to look like cherry blossoms, maple leaves, or snowflakes, and eaten in one bite. The philosophy behind them? Nothing lasts forever. Even beauty should be eaten before it fades. Strange, right? But the more I explore, the more I realize that every bite, every dish, no matter how bizarre, carries a piece of who we are. Let's land in Japan again, because it's a country that turns food into performance art. Ever heard of ikizukuri? It means prepared alive. It's the practice of serving sashimi from a still living fish, often with the heart still beating. The chef slices it so carefully that the animal remains alive long enough for you to see it move while you eat. Some see it as cruelty, others as the ultimate demonstration of freshness. The line between art and ethics gets blurry and unsettlingly fascinating. In China, there's something called three screens dish. It's an ancient delicacy where baby mice are eaten alive. The name comes from the sounds they make, one when they're picked up with chopsticks, another when they're dipped in sauce, and a final one when bitten. It's nearly extinct now, but historical records confirm it once existed. Real, disturbing, and a reminder of how different cultural boundaries can be. On the opposite end of the spectrum, let's talk about something beautiful. In Morocco, there's a centuries-old tradition of communal bread baking. Families mix dough at home, then bring it to the neighborhood oven, run by the village baker. It's not just about food, it's about community. The baker remembers whose dough is whose just by its shape. No labels, no tags, just trust built through generations. Meanwhile, in Finland, there's a dish that might confuse you: salmiakki. It's salty licorice flavored with ammonium chloride, the same compound used in cough medicine. It's so strong that most foreigners can't handle it, but Finns adore it. They even flavor vodka and ice cream with it. To them, it's comfort food. To outsiders, it tastes like a chemistry experiment gone wrong. Now let's talk about the Philippines again, specifically, tamilok, or woodworm. It's a slimy, worm-like creature that lives inside mangrove trees. Locals crack open the wood, pull it out, and eat it raw, dipped in vinegar. Believe it or not, it tastes like oysters. Nature's strange mirror of the sea, found inside a tree. In Africa, there's mopane worms, giant caterpillars dried or fried into crunchy snacks. Rich in protein, they're a vital food source in Zimbabwe, Botswana, and South Africa. During harvest season, entire communities gather to collect them from trees. It's one of the few foods that unites people across cultures there, a reminder that what some see as strange can be survival to others. Speaking of survival, during World War II, soldiers in the Pacific learned to eat spam canned pork because it lasted forever. Decades later, it became a cultural icon in Hawaii, where today it's eaten in sushi rolls, sandwiches, even McDonald's breakfasts. A war ration turned into a national favorite. That's food evolution in real time. Let's jump to Italy again, this time to the city of Florence. Every year, locals eat a sandwich called lampredato, made from the fourth stomach of a cow, slow-cooked in broth and served with salsa verde. The same part of the animal that once went to waste now represents Florentine street cuisine. Tourists hesitate, but locals know its heritage on bread. And in Mexico? You might have eaten nixtamalized corn without even realizing it. It's the ancient Aztec process of soaking corn in lime water, which changes its chemistry, boosts nutrients, and gives tortillas their signature flavor. Without that ancient method, corn wouldn't have become the global staple it is today. Civilization literally depends on chemistry in a bowl of dough. But then there's something even stranger from Iceland: svartadaughter, the Black Death bread. It's rye bread baked underground using geothermal heat, near hot springs. The dough is placed in a pot, buried in hot sand, and left for a full day to cook from Earth's heat. The result? A dense, sweet bread cooked by volcanoes. Humans found a way to turn geology into cuisine. Now let's talk about food that glows. In Japan, there's a type of ice cream that actually glows in the dark, made using proteins from jellyfish that react with calcium. It's completely real, though very rare and expensive. Imagine your dessert lighting up the night like bioluminescent waves. Science meets sweetness. And speaking of strange ingredients, in the Himalayan mountains, there's a tea made with yak butter and salt. It's thick, oily, and meant to keep people warm in freezing climates. The taste? Imagine tea mixed with soup and grease. It's not for everyone, but for Tibetan monks, it's sacred fuel for meditation in the cold silence of the peaks. In Ethiopia, coffee ceremonies are treated as a spiritual ritual. The beans are roasted in front of guests, the air filled with the smell of history. The host pours the coffee 3 times. Each round has a name and meaning. The third cup, called barika, means blessing. Coffee there isn't just caffeine, it's connection. And right when you think you've seen it all, remember that somewhere in the world, someone is eating what you'd never dare to taste and calling it comfort. Because food isn't just survival. It's identity, rebellion, memory, and sometimes pure madness on a plate. Over in Norway, there's a traditional dish called lutefisk, fish soaked in lye, the same chemical used in soap making. The process turns the fish into a strange, jelly-like texture that slides across your plate like something from another planet. It has to be soaked again in water before eating, or it would literally burn your mouth. Yet for Norwegians, it's a holiday tradition, served proudly at Christmas dinners. That mix of danger and nostalgia seems to be a common theme in humanity's favorite foods. Let's travel south to Australia, where locals love something called Vegemite. It's a thick, dark brown spread made from leftover brewer's yeast. It's salty, bitter, and shockingly strong. Most foreigners gag on the first bite. But Australians eat it daily, especially on buttered toast. It's their national flavor, one that divides the world into 2 camps, those who crave it and those who never want to see it again. In France, we find one of the most controversial desserts, blood pudding, or boudin noir. It's sausage made with pig's blood, fat, and spices. The texture is smooth, almost creamy, and people have eaten it for centuries. It's not unique to France either. Ireland, Spain, and the Philippines all have their own versions. In a way, it's the world's oldest food recycling method, nothing wasted, everything transformed. Then there's something called bird's nest soup from China. The main ingredient isn't a plant or an animal in the usual sense, it's the hardened saliva of swiftlets, small cave-dwelling birds. They build their nests from their own spit, and those nests are carefully collected, cleaned, and boiled into a jelly-like soup. It's considered one of the most expensive foods on earth, prized for its supposed health benefits and delicate flavor. A bowl can cost hundreds of dollars. In Italy, there's a wine called vino con serpente, literally snake wine. Just like in Asia, a coiled snake is placed in the bottle for years, believed to give the drink vitality and courage. It's a drink that makes your skin crawl and your stomach question everything. Meanwhile, in the United States, we have fair food carnival creations that push logic aside and chase shock value. Deep-fried butter, deep-fried Oreos, even deep-fried Coca-Cola syrup. At state fairs in Texas, you can find chocolate-covered bacon and fried alligator nuggets. It's chaos on a stick, yet every year, people line up for the next outrageous invention. Now imagine yourself in Scotland, faced with a dish called haggis. It's a mix of sheep's heart, liver, and lungs, minced with oats and spices, then boiled inside the animal's stomach. It sounds wild, but it's their national dish and people adore it. There's even a poet, Robert Burns, who wrote an entire ode to it. In Scotland, eating haggis isn't weird, it's patriotic. In Japan, fruit is more than food, it's art. There's a single variety of cantaloupe called Yubari King melon that can sell for over $20,000 at auction. Perfectly round, with flawless skin and unmatched sweetness. Gift-giving in Japan is sacred, and premium fruit symbolizes respect. It's not about eating, it's about honor. If we cross the Pacific again to the US, we'll find something oddly futuristic, lab-grown meat. Scientists now grow beef and chicken from animal cells without ever killing an animal. It's real meat, created in bioreactors instead of barns. It's clean, ethical, and possibly the future of food, though some people can't shake the unease of eating something made in a lab. And speaking of science, did you know astronauts' food has to be engineered to survive zero gravity? On the International Space Station, every crumb and drop matters. Bread isn't allowed because crumbs can clog filters and electronics. Instead, astronauts eat tortillas, they don't crumble in space. Even ketchup has to be thickened so it doesn't float away. Eating up there is less about pleasure and more about precision. But back on Earth, people have taken eating to a whole new sensory level with molecular gastronomy. Chefs use chemistry to turn food into art, edible foams, spheres that burst with liquid flavor, and smoke-infused ice cream. It's science on a plate, where ingredients become illusions. One bite might taste like steak, look like caviar, and vanish like air. And yet, for all the high-tech wonders, the world still holds on to foods born in fire, dirt, and time. In Japan, natto fermented soybeans is sticky, slimy, and smells like old cheese. But it's packed with protein and probiotics, loved for centuries by monks and farmers alike. To most outsiders, it's unbearable. To the Japanese, it's breakfast comfort. In Mexico, there's Eskimos, known as insect caviar. They're the larvae of ants, harvested from underground nests and cooked in butter. They taste like nuts and buttered popcorn and are considered a delicacy since Aztec times. You'll find them served in tacos, proving that even the tiniest creature can become a luxury. The deeper we dig, the more I realize food isn't about taste at all. It's about courage, culture, survival, and belief. What disgusts one person can be another's sacred comfort. What shocks us today might be dinner tomorrow. Let's fly to India, where the diversity of flavors could fill a lifetime. But here's a fact most people never realize: in some temples, food isn't just cooked for people, it's offered directly to gods before anyone eats. In Puri, Odisha, there's a temple called Jagannath Temple, where priests cook more than 50 different dishes daily in earthen pots stacked high over wood fires. The food, called Mahaprasad, is first offered to the deity, and only then can devotees eat it. Thousands eat from that same sacred kitchen every day, making it one of the largest and oldest community kitchens on Earth. Now let's move to Africa, specifically Nigeria, where there's a dish called jollof rice. It's not weird or scary, but it's powerful enough to start arguments across nations. Each West African country claims to make the best version, and jollof wars, yes, real social media battles, break out over whose recipe reigns supreme. That's how deep food pride runs. One pan of rice can ignite a continent's passion. But let's get strange again. In Laos, there's lap, a minced meat salad that's sometimes made with raw meat or even raw blood. Freshly drained animal blood is mixed with spices and herbs to create a deep, metallic flavor. It's a traditional symbol of strength and vitality, served during ceremonies and celebrations. What sounds shocking to some is sacred energy to others. In Sweden, they take things in another direction entirely: candy. The country consumes more candy per person than anywhere else on Earth, but here's the twist: every Saturday is Lord Godis, or Candy Saturday. It began as a government health policy in the 1950s, encouraging kids to eat sweets only once a week to prevent tooth decay. Today, it's a nationwide ritual. Candy by law, almost. Over in Alaska, indigenous communities make Eskimo ice cream, known as akutak. It's not made from milk or cream, it's whipped reindeer fat, seal oil, snow, and sometimes berries. It's sweet, savory, and incredibly rich in calories, perfect for surviving freezing temperatures. It proves that sweetness isn't always sugar, sometimes it's survival disguised as dessert. Let's travel next to France's haute cuisine, where eating can literally be a crime if done wrong. Foie gras is made from duck or goose liver, fattened through force feeding. The practice is so controversial that several countries have banned its production, yet it remains a cornerstone of French luxury dining. That tension between cruelty and culinary art defines one of the world's most expensive dishes. And in the Pacific Islands, you'll find kava, a drink made from the ground root of the kava plant, mixed with water. It looks like muddy water but relaxes the mind and body, similar to mild alcohol, without the hangover. It's used in ceremonies across Fiji, Tonga, and Vanuatu to create peace and connection. When locals drink kava, they're not just sharing a drink, they're sharing a bond. Now, let's go to Vietnam, where it's a phi trung, or egg coffee, surprises everyone. It's coffee mixed with whipped egg yolk and condensed milk, creating a thick, sweet foam like tiramisu in a cup. It was invented during a milk shortage in the 1940s, when a barista used eggs instead. Now, it's a national treasure, born from necessity, perfected by tradition. In Canada, there's something called poutine, a glorious mess of fries, cheese curds, and gravy. It started as a late-night snack but became an identity. Canadians defend it the way Italians defend pasta. Yet its creation was an accident. A customer once asked a Quebec diner to put cheese curds on the fries, and the cook replied, "Ça va faire un maudit poutine," meaning that's going to make a damn mess. The mess became history. In Sardinia, there's another ancient ritual food called pain carasau, paper-thin bread baked twice until it's crisp like glass. It's known as soldier's bread because shepherds carried it on long journeys. It can last for months without spoiling. The name literally means toasted bread, but the sound it makes when you break it, that dry, delicate crack, is part of the experience. Food is music. Then we move to the Arctic Circle, where Inuit hunters eat muktuk, frozen whale skin and blubber, sliced into cubes. It's chewy, fatty, and high in vitamin C, which is crucial in places with no fruits or vegetables. It's one of the few natural ways Arctic people stay healthy in sub-zero climates. The ocean itself becomes their orchard. In Japan, vending machines sell almost everything you can imagine: hot ramen, canned bread, and even full meals in jars. There are more vending machines than people in some districts. They're so advanced that some cook meals fresh on demand, steaming them inside the machine. It's the intersection of technology and appetite, where convenience meets the bizarre. Now, here's a fact that blows most minds: the loudest food on earth is potato chips. Scientists have measured it. The crunch produces sound levels above 90 decibels. That's almost as loud as a lawnmower. Snack companies even design chips for sound, because research shows people associate louder crunching with freshness. You're not just eating, you're being psychologically tricked by noise. And speaking of illusions, the color of your plate can actually change how food tastes. Studies show that people think food tastes sweeter on white plates and saltier on blue ones. Chefs now use psychology as a spice. What we think we taste might be nothing more than what we see. It's strange, isn't it? Across every border, humans risk, invent, and experiment just to feed not only their bodies, but their emotions. Food isn't just what we eat, it's who we are, written in flavor, fear, and faith. And that is where our journey ends. I'm Apple, and this has been AppleKnows, where every bite tells a story, and every fact leaves a question behind. We've traveled through volcanoes, oceans, temples, and frozen tundras. We've seen food that glows, food that moves, and food that frightens even the bravest souls. Yet, in every dish, whether it's a maggot-filled cheese, a $1,000 melon, or a simple bowl of rice, there's the same truth: food is the language of humanity. It connects us, shocks us, humbles us, and reminds us that no matter where we come from, we all hunger for meaning just as much as we hunger for taste. So, next time you sit down to eat, remember, you're not just tasting a meal. You're tasting centuries of survival, belief, and imagination. Every flavor is history disguised as pleasure. Thanks for watching, for wondering, and for daring to believe the unbelievable. Until next time, stay curious, stay hungry, and never stop exploring what's really on your plate. This is Apple from AppleKnows, signing off.